Beastmode presents Storytime with Beastmode.
What's up, guys, and how are you doing? My name is Beastmode, and welcome to another episode of Storytime with Beastmode. Beastmode being me, and I shall tell you a story, and it shall be glorious. And first off, I just want to say that I'm not too sure I'll be posting a lot of videos within the next 7 days. Probably actually not. Just due to the fact I have finals next week, and I'm really trying to get ready for those, and I'm kind of getting ready to go back home for winter break. But, you know, rest assured, once I get home and I have 3.5 weeks off of school, I'm going to be playing like an unhealthy amount of video games, and you'll be able to expect frequent content then. But enough of that jibber jabber. You clicked on this video to listen to a story, and how cute! You're like a little kid coming to me to listen to story. Not like the little kid you hear rage squeaking through their mics, but like when you just see one of those kids maybe at a supermarket or something, and they just do something like hilarious or just cute, and like, guys, I know what you don't try and act all tough. Like, sometimes kids do something and you're just like, I want one of those. Almost as if like kids are these like little toys or puppies or something. And I guess referring to you guys as little kids coming to me for stories kind of makes me feel like some creepy pedophile, and I should be like wearing a trench coat or something right now. But while you guys wipe those images out of your head, let me talk about Christmas, and in particular one of my best overall Christmases ever. Just one of those, like, when you have like a favorite Christmas. This was kind of like my favorite Christmas. So I was born in Texas, and I lived in Kansas for about a year or two when I was young, but since about the age of 2 or 3, I've lived in Nebraska. And up until 5th grade, when I would have been about 12 or so, we lived in the same house up until then, the whole time. Well, starting in 5th grade, my parents decided, they kind of wanted to build their own house, something that they could really stay in until, they got old and whatnot. And when I say that, I mean it like very literally. Like, my parents really wanted to build their own house, and my dad literally built our house. They'd always wanted a log house because they liked that whole outdoors kind of rustic feeling, mooses and deer antler chandeliers, that's just kind of what they wanted. And log houses, they're usually pretty large and they're somewhat expensive, and we're by no means poor, but it's not like we had a couple $100,000 just sitting around either. And so the only way this was going to be possible was if my dad did pretty much all the labor himself. So for about a good year, my dad worked his normal job, and then, after his job was over, he'd go to the house, work on the house pretty much into the night. And he'd take a lot of vacation days during this year. I don't think he worked as much, and he was at the house all over the weekend. But to be honest, I was just really too young to realize, how much work he was putting into this house, because I sure as hell couldn't work 40-hour week, and then after you're done, with your 8 to 5 or whatever, going out to a house working till midnight, and just every day for a year with weekends, and that's just no rest time. So I kudos to my dad for having a crazy work ethic that I don't have, but obviously not. But while this house was being built, we lived in a rental house just in the town that I'm in. And eventually, once the basement was finished enough, and by finished, I don't mean what you're thinking finished. I mean that there were walls, there was running water, and there was a working toilet. And anything other than that, it still looked like a construction zone. But once it had gotten to that point, my entire family of 6 moved into the basement. My parents were sleeping in the room that became my room, and me, my brother, and my 2 sisters all slept in the same room. So needless to say, it was pretty hectic, but it's kind of something I'll always remember. It's like living in a house that was literally under construction 24/7. There's people upstairs hammering on stuff, sawdust everywhere, saws going off. The floor was still concrete. It was crazy, but something I kind of always remember. And the first Christmas that we had in this house was, needless to say, it was awesome. And I think my parents really wanted to make it something really special, because it was really the first major holiday, first thing to really make this house feel like it was home. And boy, did they manage to do that. You know, I was still at that age where I got super excited for Christmas, and I'd go wake up early in the morning, you know, go wake up your parents. My brothers and sisters would be awake. They were obviously all younger than me. And, you know, we'd just go wake them up really early so we could open up the presents earlier. And it was always the biggest thrill ever to come up to the stairs. And we had the tree, like, right next to the stairs. As you walk up, you can kind of see it as you start to come up. Log houses are really open, and so, like, our main room is just, like, gigantic open, and this huge ceiling. So our Christmas tree's, like, 12 feet tall. Really big tree, and it was just, like, the biggest thrill to walk up the stairs and see all these Christmas presents underneath the tree. And my parents were never the ones that actually put the presents under the tree. You know, it was always like there was nothing under the tree until Christmas Day when you'd come up the stairs. All of a sudden, there was just presents everywhere. So we'd go to bed with this empty tree and then wake up, come upstairs, and boom! There's like things all over. And, you know, as a kid, that's just like an orgasm of Christmas and excitement and joy. And you're like, oh my gosh. And this year, though, I had no idea how my parents managed to keep all the presents hidden, for one, and then somehow managed to like wrap them and get them all to the Christmas tree like while we were sleeping, because these things were like Christmas presents from Giant Land. And if I believed in Santa at that point, which I know I did because it was 5th grade, but if I did, I was sure as hell not going to believe in him after that day, because no way did those things get through our chimney, and no way did some fat old guy like manage to even move them at all, because this was just like ridiculous. Well, long story short, my dad wanted to get kind of like game type tables and things because our house was going to become the like family holiday get-together place, because it's a pretty big house. It's very open, and my dad has 11 brothers and sisters on his side of the family. I know it's nuts, and they all have kids too, so it's a crazy huge family. It gets pretty crowded, but it's a really good time. So like he kind of wanted to make it like a real sociable kind of like party type house, you know. So one after one, we open up an air hockey table, then a foosball table, a shuffleboard table, a basketball like shooting game, you know, that they usually have like at carnivals and stuff where it keeps your score, and then a ping pong table, and then a brand new computer for the family, and then not to mention like all the little stuff that you always get, you know, like with your big gifts, and you just get like a whole bunch of other things. I mean, it was just ridiculous. I mean, like for one day I thought like my family actually had a lot of money, which really we don't. I don't want you guys to think that, because this was like an out of the ordinary, like what the heck, which is kind of why it made it so special. And I'm not saying that gifts are like what really makes Christmas or anything, and I'm old enough to the point where I understand that, but when you're little and you're a kid, you know, like Christmas presents are like the biggest thing for you, know, that's what makes Christmas so cool. You get older and you kind of realize it's like hanging out with your family and just being back home for the holidays is just really nice. But at the time it was just like, oh, it blew my mind. So basically it was one of the coolest days of my life, because now when I went downstairs, it was just like I walked into like a Chuck E. Cheese's, or I walked into like my own personal arcade that was all for me and all free. So overall, it was just an awesome day. Something I'm always gonna remember. Really was a great Christmas, you know, the first Christmas in that house. And I just want to wish you guys a very Merry Christmas. I hope your holidays go well. I hope you get to see your families, have a good time. If you're in school, have a good time not being in school. I want to encourage you guys, you know, let me know, like, what was your favorite Christmas, or, you know, what do you want for Christmas this year? You know, just anything. And really, guys, I want to wish you a very Merry Christmas. I hope everything just goes wonderful. You have a great time. I hope you enjoyed the video. Wasn't like the most interesting story, but kind of a little insight on my life. Let you guys get to know me a little bit more. My name is Beastmode. Hope you enjoyed. Please like, favorite, all that good stuff, guys, and peace out.